With the astrology backdrop of the Sun in Gemini square the North Node in Pisces, there is a leap of faith today towards destiny. I want to say a deep soul remembrance and that emotional fulfillment is here for the taking. The Divine Masculine did receive the Ace of Ariel or the Ace of Pentacles card, and I do think there is a new beginning here that he is seeing begin to surface, where his soul is remembering that promise buried deep in time, and he's standing at a very tangible crossroads moment. It could be a job offer, it could be a relocation, it could be a very tangible material opportunity, but there's some type of activation here connected to the soul contract today where the old foundation is shaking and the masculine is feeling that pull of destiny, and he's being called to take that leap of faith. Will he take that leap of faith, or is he going to stay safe where he is at? Divine Feminine, we did get the Knight of Cups or the Knight of Raphael out for you, and this speaks of a committed relationship on the way. So get ready to reshape your timeline, I want to say, because you are leading through compassion, not because you're weak, but because you have finally reclaimed your emotional voice. I do feel you are channeling both love and sacred truth in these energies, and you are no longer waiting to be chosen. You are choosing your sacred path, and you're choosing it with an open heart and a steady flame. And we did get the Four of Wands today, the Four of Gabriel. And I just want to say there's a remembrance of, hey, I've done this before. There's a deep soul memory rising from the ashes of all time and space. And so it really is time for celebration. There is a soul contract reactivation in these energies today. Beneath all of the astrology's veil, with the Sun square the North Node, there's karmic tension with the trine to Lilith and Mercury. This is opening up an emotional gateway, and the twins are being asked to remember the joy of celebration, the sacred partnership that lives in this shared blueprint, because this isn't the start, it's the return, and the portal is opening, but only for those who remember. Are you ready for today's message? Hit that like button and let's get right into it. Hey, good morning. Welcome in. Welcome back, everybody, to Friday the 13th. We're going to talk about these energies because this is a major portal day for reclamation for both of the twins on the twin flame journey. And so the twin flame collective today is really being invited to honor the energy of the divine feminine, because there is a sacred union being activated, right? The twins hold the sacred union codes, and we are here to transmute all of this collective karma connected to past life woundings from timelines of persecution and timelines of suppression. And so today we do have the Sun in Gemini in a square to the North Node in Pisces at 22 degrees 50. This is a master degree number, and it is connected to the energy of the Fool with an undertone of the Ten of Cups. And so there is tension building, I feel, in the energies between logic and surrender, Gemini and Pisces, between the known and the unknown destination. And so it's like the Sun in Gemini energy really wants the answers. It wants that linear understanding of the journey, but the North Node in Pisces is asking us to take that leap of faith into the mystery of the connection. As you can see up on the screen, we do have the North Node currently sitting in the 8th house. The Sun in Gemini is sitting in the 11th house. And so there's a very square, tense energy here at play, connected to spiritual trust versus that mental control of the Gemini energy. So first, let's talk about the sacredness, though, of Friday the 13th, because I do feel it has been very long misunderstood. And I do feel oftentimes the number 13 is feared. It is also connected to the death card in the tarot. And so, but in truth, 13 and today really is a day deeply tied to the divine feminine collective, the ancient mysteries connected to the divine feminine and all of the divine feminine sacred knowledge. And so in sacred traditions, Mary Magdalene, believed by many to be a spiritual partner of Jesus or Yeshua, she was a powerful initiate of divine feminine mysteries, and she was encoded with the energy of the 13th disciple. And she was the one who carried all of these esoteric teachings. This is also connected to the Knights Templar, Friday the 13th. The Knights Templars were guardians of all of this ancient knowledge, including Mary Magdalene's teachings, and they were persecuted on Friday the 13th in 1307. That was the date that really marked where the feminine mysteries were completely suppressed. And so for twin flames, this suppression does mirror that separation wound that we do have to go into, that we do need to heal. And this is between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And so there's energies I feel today that are being healed right now. So let's talk about this, because I do feel we also have Mercury in Cancer in a trine to Lilith and Scorpio. And so I do feel this trine energy is opening up that deep intuitive communication, okay? And this is going to come from the emotional body. We're going to feel these intuitive downloads in our emotional body, in that sacred feminine energy of Lilith, okay? And Lilith and Scorpio, it represents secrets, deep emotional truths, and all of these hidden desires coming to light, coming to the surface. As you can see, Lilith is sitting in the 3rd house of communication. And so there's massive potential today in these energies to heal that deep feminine rage, to heal all of this ancestral karma and all of these old sisterhood wounds, because a lot of us do get betrayed on the journey from sisters, from soul sisters. And so there's going to likely be a deep emotional release before this reconnection, is what this feels like. And so it's going to require courage, and it's going to require a lot of compassion. And so this really is a day coated with divine feminine activation as we walk through this portal to reclaim all of our lost wisdom and to come into that union of the higher consciousness. I did write a blog post on my webpage. There is a link to my webpage. I'll put it down below. But I did write a blog post about the triple split goddess energy and reclaiming the energy of Lilith, Eve, and Mary Magdalene, and alchemizing that as a divine feminine. Go check it out. It's on my webpage. But I do feel there's a lot of past life memories getting triggered to the surface, especially around persecution. I remember the energy of persecution when I began this journey back in 2019, sharing my gifts, sharing my story, and I was laughed at, I was slandered. My character definitely went through the ringer publicly within my local community. And so there's a lot of fear, I think, around speaking our truth and reclaiming our truth for past life persecution, okay? And so where maybe we've sacrificed this connection and this sacred love for a higher mission, for a higher cause. And so there is a strong desire, I want to say, in these energies for that emotional truth. And in order to have that emotional truth, we do have to be very authentic. Authentic in the way we behave, authentic in the way that we speak. And we do have to ground that in before we can have that sacred soul reunion. And so right now, I do feel there's going to be a lot of synchronicities connected to the number 13, 1331. Roses might be a symbol that you're seeing a lot. Grails, temples, symbols of Mary Magdalene, I feel, and the Knights Templar are probably coming up if you are resonating with today's message, okay? So let's talk about the divine masculine energies, because I do feel with the sun in that square to the north node, this really is the rattling energy. And I know the rattle card came out. I don't know if it was the other day, a couple of days ago, the rattle card came out with the crystal medicine deck. And I do feel there's a rattling of the divine masculine ego and all of these old outdated mental structures where they're probably feeling a little bit disoriented, especially masculines with major mutable signs in Gemini, Pisces, Virgo, or Sagittarius. And so it's this energy, I think, where they're being caught. It feels like they're caught between what they think they should be doing and what their soul keeps pulling them towards with the North Node in Pisces. And so I think there's an unfamiliar truth being activated for a lot of the divine masculines in these energies. And I do feel the Fool card connected to the divine masculine really is asking them to let go of that fear. faith over fear, right? To let go of the control, to let go of the logic, and to take that leap towards deep emotional vulnerability, because that really is our spiritual purpose, right? And so there's likely resistance. I know the resistance card did come out, I think, in the last reading that I channeled, but that resistance does need to be softened, right? The resistance, I feel, is going to be softened by this energetic pull towards the divine feminine, because the divine feminine does represent that 10 of Cups energy, that vision of union, peace, and that soul family energy that the divine masculine does crave, even if he doesn't understand why, okay? And so really there's a big theme of ego surrender connected to the divine masculine today, from that wandering to the awakening, and the sudden downloads, right? Because there's going to be divine detours, and I do feel there's going to be a reconnection to that inner child, so the masculine can come out and play. And so divine feminine, I do feel you're deeply connected to the Mercury trine Lilith energies today, which is allowing you to be empowered to speak your truth, right? And it's finding that strength to overcome soul suppression, okay? And so when we share our truth and speak our truth from a place of wisdom and from a place of emotional maturity, it's very powerful. So use the energies today to write, to channel, to do ritual work, to reclaim back your voice and your power, because I do feel there's an emotional reunion happening for the divine feminine in the energies today. It felt like a celebration tapping into those energies, and it felt like a lot of deep feminine healing. And so maybe you're healing sisterhood, maybe you're healing these ancestral connections with crossed over loved ones, or maybe you're just coming into this peaceful place of that inner union. The more I get into my masterclass of ancestral astrology and generational astrology, the more I am healing the ancestor aspects within my own journey. And I'm writing a book about all of this, and deep core wounding is definitely being healed as I'm writing this book. And I do think this is in part due to the Pluto retrograde in my 12th house. And so I do feel the divine feminine being called to embody those Magdalene codes, to rise through the pain, through the anger, and to ground in the energy of compassion and courage, because we are here to claim back our sovereignty as divine feminine and divine masculine beings. And so I do feel divine feminine voice activation. I feel the urge, the need to keep clearing my throat. Sacred rage is part of the alchemy. I know I released a lot of sacred rage, and we do have to get to that root energy of the sacred rage, and we do have to release that as part of this inner feminine leadership role that we agreed to take on this lifetime. And forgiveness really is what heals all of our emotional connections. And so for a ritual, I think for a ritual, you could light a candle, you could light a red candle. For Mary Magdalene, journal, speak out loud with those intentions to the universe. Just reclaim back that feminine power. And it doesn't have to be loud. It really doesn't have to be loud. But claim back everything that you feel was lost, everything that you feel was suppressed. A really good book I will recommend to read if you resonate as a divine feminine would be the Mary Magdalene Revealed book by Megan Watterson. And she does have a divine feminine oracle deck. Maybe I'll use that today, I'm not sure. But call back that power, call back what was lost, call back what was suppressed. And remember, we're here to walk the sacred path of the Fool. And sometimes we have to be the fool to play the fool. We have to play the fool to fool others, I think is how that goes. I'm not entirely sure, but we have to trust, right? We do have to trust, and we have to know that all of these paths are going to lead us back home, and ultimately home is that place of divine love within and without. And so visualize your twin flame in the energies today. Visualize them and you surrounded by that golden healing light. Allow you to see yourself reconnecting with this person through the energy of the sacred rose, because these energies really are activating a lot of divine remembrance. Okay, so let's go a little bit further with some cards and let's see what other messages need to come through for the twin flames today. If you are curious to learn a little bit more about your birth chart, I do have a free guide to understanding the 15 basics of your birth chart. Just a simple PDF download guide. If you are interested in that guide, comment down below free guide. If you are also interested in my 22-page Twin Flame ebook to understand the stages and the phases of the journey, and that it's more than just a romantic connection, it is about mission, then check out the link below or comment Twin Flame book down below, and I will send you the link to download my Twin Flame ebook. But let's get into it with these cards, and let's see what the universe has in store today for the twins. Alrighty, let's start breaking down these energies, starting with the Isis Oracle messages. And let's start with the card that did come through for the Divine Masculine Collective. We did get the card that states proper burial for freedom. This is the sacrifice to Osiris energy, the Lord of the Dead. And so there is this major theme, I want to say, coming through of ancestral purging. There could be soul memory of loss coming through, or this transformation, I want to say, through surrender. We see the fire, we see the ice energy. And so this really does show that the Divine Masculine is undergoing a very deep soul level death rite of passage. And so this is likely a moment of release, possibly a moment of reckoning, but this really is tied to the Sun in Gemini, square that North Node in Pisces. This is the Fool's leap into the void energy, where he's going to have to surrender the mind in order to tap in to that soul's knowing. And so I do feel there is a triggering here of some subconscious memory of probably past life persecution or sacrifice, possibly around the fall of the Divine Masculine's own authority or protection role towards the Divine Feminine, for example, like as a Templar or a priest in a past life, or a lover of a priestess like Mary Magdalene or Isis. And so there's likely an overwhelming sense of guilt. I was going to say fear, and guilt wanting to come through. Guilt and fear, I do think he's shifting gears here. But I do think there's a lot of unconscious grief about failing to protect the sacred. And I do think this is probably surfacing for release in these energies. And I do think he is being asked to lay to rest the old identities, the old timelines, the old masculine ego identity structures that keep him tethered to logic, control, or fear. And remember, this burial is sacred. And so the burial process of the old does create that space for the spiritual rebirth. And it does allow love to lead. So Divine Feminine, we got Stay True and Be in Your Power card. And so it is Isis and Osiris, the Lord and Lady of divine authority coming through for you. And I do think this is a beautiful indication of the balancing energies of your inner masculine and your inner feminine energies. And so I do feel this is a theme for you of embodiment of sacred leadership, right? And that voice reclamation of that unwavering truth. And so I do feel this is a direct activation of the Magdalene Isis frequency. Mary Magdalene was an initiate of Isis. And I do think the Divine Feminine Collective is really remembering that she's not only that sacred partner, she's also that sovereign spiritual leader in her own right. And so you too might be coming into an activation of soul memories of lifetimes where you were likely a high priestess, an oracle, or a healer, one whose truth was distorted, silenced, or even possibly feared. And so your path now really is to stand fully in your divine authority, not in rebellion so much, but I want to say in remembrance. And so I do feel with the Lilith Mercury trine, this is a huge indication that your voice is returning. Your intuitive power is not to be hidden, is not to be stored away. You're here to lead with your emotional intelligence. And so there could be a lot of sacred rage being transmuted into truth and grace in these energies. And so I think your path really is not to shrink, Divine Feminine, not to seek that approval or that validation, but basically to claim your sacred space without any explanation. You don't owe anybody an explanation to claim the right to be here. And so your power really is anchoring in that divine timeline, okay? The combined energies, we do see, I think that looks like Anubis on the card. And it does speak of truths being unveiled and the revelation of Isis. And so there is a sacred remembrance. I'll never forget the sacred remembrance of the Isis and Osiris timeline. It's been so many years. But that remembrance was very pivotal for my karmic clarity years ago on the journey. And so it is the lifting of the veils energy. And so this really is a potent message I want to say for collective union today. The veil is lifting, right? Whether it's in forms of signs, dreams, memories, or you're going to have that sudden aha moment of clarity. Truths about the journey are being activated. Truths about each other and truths about this soul contract. It is all being illuminated in these energy. And I think both of the twins are being shown where illusions and fear and all of this unconscious patterning and conditioning has really veiled the truth of who they each are to each other and to the world. And so this is an Isis initiation, a spiritual unmasking, and we can't unsee it once we see the truth, right? So once this truth is seen, we can never return to our former state, our former way of being. And so in context to Friday the 13th, the portal of Friday the 13th, I do feel this is the energy of a reactivation of the sacred vow made in previous lifetimes, the vow to awaken, the vow to rise, and the vow to serve through unity consciousness. And so this really is a revelation moment. It really is. And I do feel the divine path ahead really is being illuminated by this ancient light here. You see this flame or this light in the bowl. And so trust in what is being shown to you. Trust in what you are feeling, because the soul remembers through our cellular DNA, okay? So let's talk about the bottom of the deck. the Eye of Horus, okay? And so this is awakening that divine perception. It is the higher sight. It is the third eye. It is protection. It's clarity. So this energy holds that divine oversight, I want to say, of the entire oracle reading here. And so you are reminded that amidst all of the chaos, the Eye of Horus does see truth beyond illusions. And so I think the twins are receiving downloads, visions, signs. There's a deep inner knowing that's really going to confirm the path moving forward. Even if you can't really articulate it into words, I understand how hard it is to articulate energy into words, but intuition really is sacred, right? And so when you sense that something is true or real, listen to that intuitive nudge, okay? Because the journey, these unions, they are protected, they are guided, and it is part of a divine higher plan that is kind of playing out across all of these lifetimes. And so let your divine perception lead you forward. See through the eyes of the soul, not through the eyes of distortion or through the eyes of fear, okay? So I did choose the Archangel Power Tarot cards today. I thought it would bring forward a beautiful energy connected to the archangels. And so let's start with the top row, the Divine Masculine, the Ace of Ariel, or the Ace of Pentacles. And I want to say, like, this is the Fool's Crossroads. The card says it's your lucky day, new resources of money or time or support, a change in job or promotion. And so this is the new chapter, I want to say, being made manifest in the material world. This is the Divine Masculine's leap of faith. It's not emotional or spiritual, but hey, it's pretty practical. Pentacles are pretty practical. He could be coming into a new job offer. He might be needing to relocate for a job. There could be an opportunity presented for him to build something tangible. Something is going to be presenting itself to the masculine. It very well could be a windfall because the Ace of Pentacles is a gift from above. But it does carry with it this deeper meaning, I feel, of this is the start of his rebirth, grounded in alignment, grounded in that soul purpose. And so what if this is not just an opportunity, though? What if this represents the foundation for the union timeline over the course of the next year? Because when I think of Pentacles, I think of time, and I think of Aces, I think over the course of the next year. Epiphany, or the Hermit card. Archangel Raziel is coming through. This, I want to say, is the mental disruption, okay? There's illumination. Illumination always comes through solitude, first and foremost. And so this is not just a surface level pause, a surface level break. There's a deep inner awakening, I want to say, that the Divine Masculine is undergoing. This is challenging his old beliefs, maybe challenging the belief that he's going to have to always walk alone, or that love equals sacrifice. There's a questioning, I want to say, there's a questioning, right? And so when we go into spiritual isolation on the journey, it does keep us separate from everybody else's truth, so we can shine that light and find our own emotional truth. And so the answers are always going to lie within and not in the patterns of the past. And I think there's a disruption connected to the past patterns coming through for the masculine. There's like a completion of a cycle here. And then we got the King of Cups, or the King of Raphael. And I do feel almost like a Poseidon energy coming through, which is bringing the depth energy beneath the Divine Masculine's outer attachment, because I think there's immense emotional wisdom being activated here. There's emotional maturity. There's divine love, divine unity consciousness coming through. And I do think the Divine Masculine is probably in a state of confronting all of these old pains connected to intimacy, trust, and emotional vulnerability, right? And so I think he's remembering that he can feel safe again in love. And we do notice the dolphins, and so he's thinking about life partnership. He really is. And so love really isn't like a flood energy to be feared. It's the ocean that really holds the twin, right? That Piscean ocean energy of the North Node. And then the Ace of Raphael. So more love, more water, more dolphins. And so this really is the path to that 10 of Cups today. This is that new emotional beginning. We got tangible beginning. We got emotional beginning. There's like a sacred heart activation, a sacred heart awakening, where the heart is cracking wide open, where the Divine Masculine is being called to open up to love, not just the romantic ideals of this connection, but the soul deep emotional connection that the twins do share. This is like that first breath of that real real grounded 10 of Cups energy. And the next step really is that emotional courage, right? And so let yourself begin again, Divine Masculine. Let yourself begin again in love, with love, and for love, okay? It's all about the love. It's all about the good, feel good feelings for the Divine Masculine, I feel today. Divine Feminine, we did get the Knight of Raphael. Lots of cups coming through, 3-cup energies. And so this is really that committed romantic relationship. And so I think it's about time you find your strength in the softness, because I do think you're about to get swept off your feet. And so there's going to be an opportunity, I think, here as well to lead through some heart-centered action, right? And so there's an inner romantic here, along with sacred maturity coming through. You're learning how to channel your emotions into movement, expression. There's a gentle pursuit, I feel, coming towards you. And this is somebody coming forward, and it's not out of desperation. But I feel somebody here has an offer for you, and they are deeply soul confident that they're going to step into leadership with you. And so remember, love is never a weakness. Love truly is divine leadership. And so we get the Page of Gabriel next for you. And this is the Page of Wands, where you are reclaiming your Magdalene codes. This is that wild spark of the feminine, the sacred play energy, the spiritual excitement, right? And so you're being invited to remember that the mission is about passion. It is about joy. It is about that spark of divine creativity and that courage, right? That Mary Magdalene carried with her too. And so there's a childlike silvering priestess self being reborn here, is what this feels like. And there's going to be an opportunity for an exciting new adventure. And so you're not just reclaiming your past, you are re-enchanting your path moving forward. And so the heart healing and the sisterhood, we did get the moon with the connection to Archangel Haniel. And so I do feel there is intuitive healing here. There is emotional clarity. There's mystery. There's magic. The moon always brings up anything that is hidden. There's going to be an opportunity here to improve your plans. There could be a hidden betrayal or an illusion breaking open, but there's really deep feminine healing here, right? You are the gravitational pull of the moon. And so I do feel there could be a new sisterhood you're calling in. I feel at one point in time, you probably felt very abandoned in your sacred tribe, and now you are facing your fears. You grew stronger, and now there's going to be a lot revealed about the next layer of the sisterhood that you're building on your path, okay? The King of Gabriel, the last card out for you, or the King of Wands. And I find this interesting because this to me was a message of the feminine embodiment that you're being asked to anchor in. And so you think of the King of Wands. It's bold, it's visionary. This is like the divine feminine energy in action, right? Because the masculine is the action taker. And so this is the Mary Magdalene full fire, I want to say, where you're ready to lead, you're ready to build, you're ready to teach, you are ready to inspire, not from the shadow masculine, but from that embodied feminine wisdom. And so you're anchoring in a very powerful presence that will hold the union timeline in physical form. So step into the light. You were born to blaze this new path. And so I do think you have a lot of experience that can lead others to success. And you do have a lot of genuine concern for people. So keep your eyes on the bigger picture, Divine Feminine, okay? Let's talk about the combined energies of the bottom row. The karmic unveiling, the Four of Wands. So this is the sacred union. This is the past life harmony. This is the classic 1111 union card. And it does represent the karmic timeline where the twins were probably once together in joy, celebration, or marriage. And there could be a memory resurfacing, reminding you of what is truly possible when you come together. I do think there's going to be a lot of abundant rewards for all of the hard work that the twins have put into transmuting this journey, to releasing all of these burdensome situations in past life timelines. And so while it might look like nothing is happening, we are being realigned beneath the surface, right? And it's in the silence where the guides are working, where the dreams are active, the telepathy is restored, the sacred union is healing, always in those quiet moments and spaces in between, okay? The Four of Michael is the union timeline activation. there's healing here, but we do need to rest. I want to say divinely rest. We're in a portal of secret, silent alignment, and what looks like nothing is happening really is saying, yes, it's restoring. There's healing here. We've done this before. We're remembering that we've done this before. And so we do need to rest in order to receive those insights. So meditate, rest, go within. There is a need for more sleep. I don't know about the rest of you, but I can sleep for 8-9 hours a night, and all I want to do is sleep all day. The energy is thick. So seek that relief, meditate, rest, and go within, because the inner balance of the masculine and feminine is being reflected in the King of Michael card today, or the King of Swords. And so there's a theme of integrity, truth, and soul discernment coming through. Wisdom and objectivity are really important right now, especially on the path. And so there's clear, courageous communication coming in, both within and with each other. And I do think both of the twins are learning to speak with truth, along with a hint of compassion, because we are here to lead together, but we have to clear up this conflict, right? And so your truth is your union. And so there is a situation here that really does call for honest, open communication in order to shift that perspective, because the last card out for the combined energies today is the Hangman. And it is Archangel Chamuel. And so there's always a better way, right? And so pause for that reflection. We're here to dare to be different. And so there's soul surrender. There's divine timing in this card today. And so we have to pause before the actual manifestation of the rebirth. And so it's almost like we're all kind of hanging in divine suspension right now. And it's not because we're stuck. It's because we have to reorient everything, and that takes time before we can return to each other. So let go of control, allow the shift to happen, because surrendering is not giving up. Surrendering is giving in. So give in to divine timing, okay? Let's talk about the bottom of the deck, because I always say the bottom of the deck is important. It's kind of like the hidden energies that we don't see happening. And we did get the 7 of Wands, or the 7 of Gabriel. This is where we are called to stand up for what it is that we believe in. This is where we're being asked to stand our ground spiritually, emotionally, physically. The battle does feel uphill at times, but we are surrounded by divine backup. We are always supported, but we do have to have that confidence in order to claim back our personal power. So where are you withholding claiming back your power? Where are you afraid of giving too much or letting go? Or where are you afraid of dropping the defenses around your heart out of self-protection? Because when you give, you also receive. And so don't be resistant to the change, because what we resist will persist with that 4 of Pentacles, because we are being reminded, hey, the ships are coming in with the 3 of Gabriel or the 3 of Wands. These ships are coming. Divine timing is at work. And all of the plans we've made, all of the seeds that we planted, all of the intentions that we have seeded, they are here. They are on the horizon. They are about to arrive. Okay, they're just about here. So have that optimism. Take that next step. Trust that all of the wise planning, it's all coming together. And there's a breakthrough of truth here. It's on the way. This is the Ace of Michael, the Ace of Swords. And so there could be a new idea. There could be a new conversation. Do not allow bumps on the road to hinder your progress, right? Clear up communication problems with others, because I do feel there's going to be a divine realization that will clear up the fog, and that will help affirm the next steps when it comes to this reunion with the 6 of Raphael. And so embrace that inner child healing. That really is the breakthrough moment, when we heal that inner child and that core seed point of that wounding. So let's talk about the final messages from the Mary Magdalene Oracle deck. We did get the Cave, and it does speak of sanctuary lies within. And so I actually purchased this Mary Magdalene deck when I was traveling in the UK. I went to London, England. I can't believe it's been a year already. I think I flew in on July the 7th last summer, and I was afforded the opportunity to trek up to the Tor in Glastonbury, which is a very sacred site. Allegedly, Mary had been there. And so let's talk about the Cave, because I feel this is a message that true union begins in silence, right? It's not really found. It's kind of this energy of we need to remember it. And so both of the masculine and the feminine need to enter into that inner sanctuary, the sacred cave where we shed the ego and all of that divine truth is remembered. And Mary Magdalene reminds us that until that inner noise goes silent, we can't really hear. We can't hear the whispers of our soul or even of our beloved. And so this kind of does reflect that perspective card here, the Hanged Man card. An energy of divine stillness, and it's never out of punishment. And I do feel also with the Four of Michael energy here, where we're healing, and it happens in the silence, right? And so I feel the message is you don't need to seek anymore. The love you're searching for is already within you, right? What you are seeking is also seeking you. And so the sacred cave is really not an actual place, but it's a frequency. It's a frequency of surrender where the ego dissolves and only love will remain. And then we also got the cave of eggs. So 2 cave energies. And so it says we exist in and within each other. And so there's a sacred energy here of unity consciousness. We are never separate from each other. We're not separate from the earth. We're not separate from source. The divine masculine and feminine are not opposite. We're not here in opposition. We're here to be complementary reflections of one soul united. And so I do feel this reflects the Four of Gabriel or the Four of Wands energy, right? Where oneness is actually the mission. Oneness is the mission. Union is never a destination. It is an actual state of embodiment. And so there is no other. Okay, when we embody our whole self, our counterpart is magnetized back to us, not through longing, but through soul frequency resonance. That is the divine Mary Magdalene code of the holographic union. To unify the self is to call back the one, okay? And then the bottom of the deck, presence. It says, I call myself back from all times and all places. And it says, I exist intensely. This is the final call. Union can only be embodied in the now. We can't think it into being, okay? This is the final call. Come back into your body. Come back into the body, ground, release the old timelines, release the yearning, release the longing, release the stories. Anchor into presence, true divine presence. That's where your divine feminine Magdalene flame can burn. Not in the future, not in the past, but intensely in this moment. This does mirror that Ace of Cups card. Where's the Ace of Cups? The Ace of Cups card. And the Ace of Pentacles, I want to say, right? And so there's an initiation of the mind, the heart, and the body. And so a new beginning is only going to be possible when we fully show up to what is real in the now, right? We have to show up to what is presented right in front of us. And so be in your body, be in your truth, be here right now, because the moment you stop reaching for union out there, because it's not out there, is the moment you begin to rise right now in the here, in the now. And so I do feel there's a final veil lifting in today's portal. I do feel there's a call for sacred stillness. I do feel there's a call to lay that ego to rest. I do feel there's a call for soul unity and to dissolve that separation consciousness. There's a call for embodiment. Live in your divinity right now, because the journey is about coming back home to self through the silence, through the soul, and through the sacred now. And so that's really what I got for a message for the twins today. If you would like to go further with me with a personal birth chart reading, transit chart reading, or a twin soul synastry chart reading, I would love to get that booked in for you. If you're not quite ready for that, do feel free to check out the membership side of the channel, where I do go live every week and I do offer zodiac specific messages to help you integrate your personal growth and healing journey. I hope you have a great day, everybody, and I do hope to see you all again next time. Thank you.